Hello, can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, great. I am very excited to present this little project that we have going on here in Vermont about turtles and our railroad, which is a simple solution for rail mortality of turtles and other herps. Okay, yeah, I'll try to go a little quick here too, so that the other presenters can present with their right amount of time. Um, anyway, thank you everybody for the patience. This is my presentation. So in 2023, a rail tie replacement project came in through NEPA review. Also, I'm a biologist for VTrans. And a lot of my job entails doing the review for natural resources for these projects that come in through NEPA and Resource ID and through our construction process. And in Vermont, we have this really great system, which is our mapping, and it's called the Vermont A&R Atlas. And this big circle where you can see little red dots, that is a map of what it would look like if you turned on rare, threatened, endangered layer in our A&R Atlas. So that's something that we always check for in looking for natural resources near a project location. So I had noticed that there were some occurrence records of some rare, threatened, endangered turtles kind of overlapping with a railroad that we had. Which immediately struck me as something that we could do that was easy and great for turtles. So turtles, they really have a much harder time getting across rail lines as larger animals would. So they really can fragment them and cause connectivity issues. So if you look here, here's a little picture of a snapping turtle that was taken last week that was found in between the rail lines. And you can see just the size of the turtle compared to the rail. And sometimes they can make it over the first rail, but then they get stuck in between the rails until they dry up and die, which is really sad, and we don't want that to happen. So the two species of concern that we had noted were present in this area were spotted turtles, which is the first picture, and wood turtles, which are both native to Vermont and face a lot of issues. They both are very popular pets, so the legal pet trade has caused a lot of these species or a lot of these individuals to be taken from the population. And then they also face a lot of road and rail mortality, which is issues. And these species reproduce really, really slowly. So the value of an individual is very, very great. So losing one individual in a population could spell disaster for that population. So we want to make sure that all of our turtles are staying alive and that we're maintaining and growing those populations as much as possible. So because these species were in the area, one thing that we decided to do was to implement a plan to put in a modified rail tie. So this is just a picture of the engineering plans for that are going to go in. So these basically are little turtle tunnels that are going to go underneath the rails, so they'll be able to move, beyond the rails and be able to cross without being stuck there, which is a really great solution. And these aren't even that expensive and are just a really easy thing to add in. We had already had one in Vermont before, so we changed a couple things on the detail, and now we're planning to implement it into this project. I chatted with the engineers and they were like, yeah, this sounds like a great idea, which was really awesome to hear that. So we had to figure out where these crossings were going to go. So you guys might recognize the guy there in the bubble. That's Chris Slasar, who gave the talk yesterday. And he's out there with the Trimble. And marking the locations of these where we wanted to put in these crossing locations. And not only did we find turtles during our field work, but we were able to find nesting sites next to the rail lines, which was very surprising as well. So now we know what locations we're going to put them in and where our special modified rail ties are going to go in to help the turtles. So the picture on the left there is a picture of a painted turtle that we found that was actively trying to pass the rails. So we safely moved him across, and he is all fine and dandy from the last time I saw him, but it just really showed that this is something that's needed in our area here. So in conclusion, this project was something that is fairly simple to implement and an easy way to put in wildlife accommodations on a project that you wouldn't necessarily think you could. So, you know, a lot of the wildlife crossings that we initially think of are these big overpasses with elk and moose and these larger predators and things. But, you know, a lot of the species that are directly impacted by it are these smaller terrestrial reptiles. So being able to provide accommodations for them by just even adding in a modified rail tie when they have to replace all the ties anyway is just a really easy way to help these species out. And just easy communication with engineers and doing it that way made it very possible. So I guess in conclusion, like not all crossings have to be huge, massive undertakings. Simple stuff can work too. And that's all I have. Are there any questions or anything?
We still have 2 minutes for questions. Michelle?
I was curious how we started to work with railroad companies and how that had problems like initiating conversations with railroad.
The question is, how did you initiate the agreement with rail companies, and did you have challenges?
I really didn't have any challenges with this. The project manager who is managing this is within VTrans, and so am I. So I just had a very easy conversation with him one day at work and brought this up. And I was like, wow, these turtles are present here. We should put in crossings for them. And he just said, okay. And I think a lot of that is actually due to another thing that I didn't touch on, which is our Highways and Habitats program that Chris developed here at VTrans, which is a program that a lot of engineers and other people can take to understand why wildlife connectivity and transportation ecology is very important, and they can kind of factor that into their jobs.
Okay, we have one more question.
How do you decide your crossings? How many do you put in and extra recommended spacing?
The question is, how did you cite the crossings, and was there a recommended number and spacing?
So I can't remember off the top of my head all of the exact specs for this, but we had already had an engineer create these crossings before. So we put in the parameters of this rail run, which was a little different, and it took a couple months. But using the existing design from the previous rail line, we were able to just change a couple of numbers and make it work for this one. So I can go ahead and send you those plans if they're interested in it and talk to you more about that, but I don't have any specific numbers right now.
Thank you so much, Jessie. We appreciate your patience with the tech too.